here, put a comment, wave a hi so I can say hi back to you, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started immediately. So basically, right, as always, I come to you every week with live training that you can use and apply to your current situation and job. So how many of you put raise your hand, or put a emoji, some sort of an emoji if interviews make you nervous, especially the interviews where you're asking for a whole lot of money and really you want to do your best, but don't know how to best prepare for it, right? So today I'm going to be sharing with you the 6 hacks that every individual who's looking to make 6 figures needs to know so that you can ace that 6-figure job interview. A lot of times when we are in these interviews, or we're looking to, when we are getting ready for an interview, we always look for some sort of a soundboard, right? Someone who can tell us, hey, does this sound right? Or how do I describe what I've done? And it's really that sort of a support that's helpful for all of us. So if you are here, I do see one comment, and okay, Hiba says, I can hear you and I can see you. Thank you, Hiba. Thank you so much. Part of, understanding in terms of the interviewing skills is really getting over this fear that we have that it's very common. It's common to have fear and feel like, oh my God, I'm going to go in there and I will completely bosh this interview. And so how do you get rid of that, right? And that's have you ever gone to a job interview and felt so scared, and the palms of your hand were sweating, and here you are thinking, oh my God, I'm probably not going to do well. So that's something that happens. It has happened to the best of us, right? If you think about every single person that goes through a job interview, whether these are VP levels, director levels, CEO levels, there's always a sense of nervousness. So that's inevitable. You are going to feel that, which is natural. But we're going to be talking about how to even feel scared, feel the fear, but continue to move forward, because if we let our fears hold us back, then we're not going to achieve anything in this life. So if you agree with that statement, go ahead and put a thumbs up emoji for me so I know that that part resonated to you. So what are we going to do here today? I'm going to provide you the 6 hacks, give you that training, and then after that, I'll do a quick Q&A session so that you can ask me questions in terms of what any interviews that you have coming up that I can help assist you with. The training, I'm going to try to stay on topic, and what you need for this training is your notebook and a pen. There will be a replay of this, so whenever you want, you can definitely rewatch this. And if you're watching this on replay, please let me know. All right, so what are the 6 hacks? The number 1 hack of anything I can tell you is, write this down right now, is mental preparation. There's nothing like mental preparation and giving yourself the self-confidence that you can and that you will get this job, even though you don't know the outcome. So how do we get to that level of, I like to call it cockiness. We all need that. If you look at animals in the wilderness, you look at really high achievers and A players. Even if you look at football games and soccer games, what is it that they do? They cheer each other up right at the beginning. It's like, yes, we got this. We're going to win this game. There's high fives, and you have a coach who tells you the game plan, and there's this entire energy that goes behind this that boosts up your chemicals in your brain and your body that gets you ready to go and be this amazing interviewer. So if you have a piece of pen and paper, I want you to write down, number 1 hack is to prepare yourself for the interview mentally. That means standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself that you can and that you will, that you have the knowledge, that you have the technical skills, that you're fully capable of doing this so that, so that you're successful and that you will be successful. And you want to put your hands on your hips or on your waist, and you want to stand and do that power pose almost every day, a week up until your interview is coming up. Because if you don't do that, then if you're slouching and you really aren't preparing yourself mentally, then absolutely, you're not going to do as well. So hack number 1 is mental preparation, right? You do this all the time. You do this at least a week in advance to your interview. Number 2 hack is really understanding the skills that you have, the knowledge that you have, and what you're going to be bringing to the table. So what do I mean by that? If you're uneducated about your own skills and the impact you've made in an organization, you're not going to be able to talk about it, right? I always mention this. I always talk about being knowledgeable about your own skills and the experiences and your accomplishments, your career highlights. It is really important to know this, and so part of the second hack is that you need to look at the job description and be able to come up with one scenario where you kick butt in that particular situation. If it has to do with risk management, if it has to do with PMO, or it has to do with IT implementations, how did you kick butt in that particular responsibility that they have listed under the job that you are interviewing for? So it is important that you understand the skills and the knowledge that you bring in. So I call that a skills assessment. And your resume needs to be not Bible, the one sheet that you're going to be reviewing on a daily basis and connecting the dots to what this role is hiring you for. Right? So that's hack number 2. Hack number 3 that I can tell you is that when you interview for a 6-figure job, it's less of a back and forth of this interviewing, very concrete interviewing. Rather, it is a conversation. A conversation where you are describing in a very confident manner that you can get the work done, right? That you are, and that you have the experience, the knowledge, and the communication skills to talk about how you'll be able to perform a set of tasks that are required for this role and responsibilities. So it changes a little bit for 6-figure jobs and above, right? It's no longer this do you have this skill or that skill? They're looking for an individual who can connect things holistically. And so again, it's really, understanding and making sure that you practice conversational interviewing, and that you become very natural in how you're talking about yourself and your skills, so that the interviewer looks at you as an expert, as someone who's seasoned versus someone who's like maybe mid-level or early level career professional. So the third hack is what? Is being able to interview in a conversational manner, not necessarily in this Q&A style of interviewing. Right? So conversational manner of interviewing is going to be key for you. Number 4, I want to bring up the 3 sets of skills that you as a 6-figure professional should already have. So the first skill is the technical knowledge, right? Do you have the technical knowledge to get the work done? Not only that, there's technical knowledge that we all have, but there's also technical knowledge in terms of being able to say, talk about certain IT lingo, whether that's, SQL databases, big data, data gathering, analysis, requirements, traceability matrix, understanding how a Scrum call runs or understanding the details of how to do things at a granular level, and being able to see the big picture of when we do things at a granular level, how that impacts the entire project, program, portfolio, and the organization as a whole. So a lot of individuals come to me and they're like, well, give me some tips and tell me how to finish this interview or do really well in this interview. Part of it is for your ability to connect things at the lower level, at the micro level, to the macro of how it impacts, right? And so that's when someone's looking to hire you for a six-figure position, they're looking for you to understand things from a technical perspective, which may have to do with coding, servers, software development lifecycle, requirements, maybe, understanding the back end of a database, whatever it may be. If you're interviewing for that industry, be sure that you are speaking the lingo and that you're speaking the technical language that they're looking for you to speak at these interviews, right? So that's technical knowledge. Number 5, and so make sure that you have that down. The other thing, hack number 5, is for you to always connect in your language at the interview, your ability to understand that everything that you're doing within the organization, there is a strategic mission behind it. That your work is connected to the mission and vision of the organization. If you're watching this on replay, please let me know. But if you're someone who says, I'm very task oriented and I'm not sure how this connects to the organization, you may not be ready for a six-figure job. Really, a six-figure job is for someone who can look at things from small to medium to large aspect of how their duties impact things from small, medium to large. Right? And so anytime you're interviewing for a six-figure position, if you're unable to say, I understand the strategy behind this, or I understand that how this aligns to the mission and vision of the organization, and you're speaking in that language, the interviewer will understand that you have maturity and you experience, and that you really are ready for a position with responsibility and to be getting paid the amount of money that you're asking for. In this instance, for anyone who's looking to make over 6 figures. So we talked about strategy, right? Strategy for aligning everything to a mission and vision of your organization. If you're here and you can hear me, please comment so I know that you are watching this. The other third aspect, this actually number 5, is your ability to show leadership. Right? Leadership is key and very important when we get into the 6-figure salary. That is when you are really indicating to the interviewer that not your leadership skills are up to par. You have the ability to motivate a set of individuals. You can show them the vision, the roadmap of the product that you're trying to deliver, and allow your team to see what you're seeing, and you're all moving towards a goal. And if there is conflict, if there's friction that comes up, you're able to, with your leadership skills, remove those roadblocks and again get the team to refocus on the objectives of the project, the program, or the initiative that the organization has undertaken. So that is your hack number 5, is, do you have the leadership skills? Do you have experience in leadership where you have taken ownership as well as fault for things that have happened? If you have ever taken, the grunt or the brunt of something at your job and haven't put a coworker under the bus and kind of have taken the fault for it, that almost says that you do have the maturity of a leader, because a leader protects its team members. A leader makes sure that everything is out of the way so the team understands what they need to do and work on and behave and think in order for them, again, to move forward towards a common goal, right? And so that is hack number 5. So what is your leadership skills? What do you bring in? And how are you able to align everything with the mission and vision of your organization? Get your team to see that as well. Hack number 6 is when you are interviewing for a 6-figure job. Again, I'm going to sum all of this together, right? And not only when you're speaking about your experiences, again, you can't speak to them in certain in compartments. You have to be able to talk in such a fluent way where you can connect one task, one objective to the next, and be able to really say to the interviewer, I understand that if you want me to complete this project schedule, I know what this aligns to. I understand that a project schedule is needed by the technical team, the PMO team, as well as the operational team, so they can understand what's coming down the pipeline, and so that those individual teams can be ready. If you're unable to connect those in an interview for a 6-figure position, the interviewer will know that you don't have the maturity to be able to make, for that position. Forget about even making the 6 figures. So what is the 6th hack? The 6th hack is that in all of this, you really have to be mindful of your ability to communicate. One of the things that is so important in an interview is that you keep and maintain a very calm composure, that you practice way in advance. Practice your interviewing. Practice with, if you have a pet, if you have a child, if you have, record yourself on your phone, whatever it may be. You want to hear yourself talk in interview, because when you hear yourself, you'll be able to course correct. So practicing is your 6th hack. Practicing with really anyone that's willing to hear. If you don't have anyone that's willing to hear you interview, record yourself, and make sure that when you're recording yourself that you observe how you're talking. What is your tone like? What is your pitch, the pitch of your voice? How about your ability to describe a particular situation? How are you describing it? Are you describing it in a linear manner? Are you describing it more of in a story? Do you get excited when you hear yourself talk, right? And so this is, again, really important here that you can hear what you're saying, because that's how you can course correct and then, be able to become a better interviewer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get into the Q&A session. So I'll give all of you an opportunity to ask me questions. What questions do you have that I can help answer for you? If you're here live, let me know. But what questions do you have? What can I help answer for you? Do you have an interview that's coming up? Let me know. Yeah, Hiba, absolutely. Interviewing for a large panel, with a large panel, you always want to ask for a glass of water, because those moments of you drinking a sip of water allows you to pause for a moment and really gather your thoughts before you answer the question. So anytime you pause for a few minutes, you're able to really focus on, okay, what am I going to say next, and how am I going to answer the particular question? So that's definitely a good feedback right there. Can these tips be used when doing yearly performance plans? So if you're doing a yearly performance plan, again, what you want to focus on, and I know that you just recently started your position, so you want to focus on what you have accomplished to date in terms of what was assigned to you, and talk about how you're able to onboard very quickly, understand the tasks and roles and responsibilities, and so on, and then go back to the job description that was provided to you, and for the next year, put those down as the goals that you want to work on to make sure that you fully understand the role that you've been placed into, but then also add some new things. For example, some of the new things that you can add in a yearly assessment is not only education, but if you're seeing a certain process, or if you're seeing a database that's unorganized, or if you're seeing something that would require efficiency, then you say, and my goal for next year is to make sure that to create an SOP for a change management process where the entire team understands and knows how to handle changes as they come up for a project. That could be a goal. The second goal could be to start a brown bag where we talk about tips and tricks for project management. In terms of technical goals, you can talk about learning a particular tool better. So any of those can be part of your assessment, and really what organizations look for is showing that you want to grow, and that you want to grow with them while helping the organization meet its goals and objectives, and of course, which then aligns to a revenue number. So always think in terms of percentage, like what have you done that saved them money or time, and how it's also what you're doing, how it aligns to a particular mission and vision for the organization. Now, for those that are on here and you're thinking to yourself, I definitely these were great tips, and I want to understand how to improve my interviewing skills, and it would be great to just go out there and speak fluently Majuba, just like you are. And so it all believes with how we feel about ourselves and what we think our skills are. If you're continuously telling yourself that I'm not good enough or I can't do this, then you're right. What you tell yourself is exactly what is going to happen. If you're going to say I'm not good at interviewing, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to go in there and interview terribly. If you say, I don't have the technical skills, maybe you don't, right? And so one of the first things that needs to happen is your shift in believing how you talk to yourself and what you believe, your skills, your knowledge, what your skills and knowledge that you have or that you can give to this new organization that you're going to. No company wants to hire an individual that is lacking this confidence in their own ability. If you already feel like you can't do something, how are you going to sell someone else on your skills, right? And so shift that belief. It's not okay to think like that about yourself. Focus on the facts. What have you accomplished? What education do you have? What goals have you accomplished? What are you currently doing for your organization? Focus on the facts. Don't allow the fear to get the best of you, because then, yes, you will absolutely botch the interview and you're not going to do that well. So that shift in belief is important, or else change isn't going to happen. For me, in my experience, have I had moments in interviews where I was sweating bullets? Absolutely. I went to a job interview where they had me stand up and draw out a scenario where I needed to figure out how to ship a product to 3 different locations, and they wanted me to whiteboard it and show them how I was going to do it. And so that was definitely new to me. I had never whiteboarded a particular concept. So I went ahead and I did my best. I did get the job. I was able to explain myself through it, but I ended up getting the job. So just trust yourself and know that you do have the ability, you have the capability, that you have the expertise to, first of all, if they called you for a 6-figure job, you can absolutely handle the interview as well. If you're looking for guidance, support in your career, and you say to yourself, tired of my situation, I want it changed, I really do deserve a 6-figure salary, but I just don't know what the next steps are, then here's what you can do. Go ahead and book a time to meet with me. I'll put my calendar link. It's a 15-minute free strategy session. Pick my brain about whatever it is that you're dealing with right now in terms of interviewing. And then if you're interested in potentially becoming a coaching client, we can talk about that as well. But at the end of the day, change starts when you're ready to change your current situation, and change also starts when you're sick and tired of the situation that you're in. So if you are not ready for change, that means you're okay with what you're dealing with right now. So preparation and all of this is key. Thank you again for joining the live training. I'll be back here next week with another topic and another training session for you. Take care and talk to all of you soon.